Okay.
I got the record. Hello, hello. Welcome.
Okay.
Get the slideshow. Let me get my slideshow set up here. Since I ran Grace's, I have to go find mine again. Hold on. Okay, Grace.
Oh, there are several people. I'm going to assign Carly to ours. She's probably on her phone. So there you are, Carly.
Can you all see the slides? And I will actually, let me make a copy of them really fast here so I can put them into the box for you guys. I'll put them in the chat so that y'all can access them and you have access to them. You can do what you want with them. You will actually be contributing on these slides here in a moment. So you're going to want to open them up. Typing into the slides here for us in a moment. Let's see, who do we have? So we have, there's Carly and Michelle and Andrea. So welcome, ladies. So Amber and I have done a couple of these workshops together, and Carly too. And I teach in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and it's a comprehensive traditional high school. And Amber teaches in Idaho, and it's an alternative school, correct?
Yes.
Much smaller. And so we had we tried to put this together. We ended up doing it towards the end of the year, and that was a challenge. But our information is on here too. If you guys have questions or want ideas or, just want to have a network. And so I'll put that on there, and then I'm going to let Amber, are you okay to do the first couple slides? And
yeah. I just took a swig of my cough syrup, so I should be good. Sorry, guys. I have COVID right now, and it hit my lungs, and it's been fun. So what we did is we came up with an assignment. Our goal was to come up with something that both classes could do at the same, like our kids could literally be working at the same time. So this was our lesson objective. Students will be able to summarize and evaluate. Sorry, my box is in the way. 2 of the possible ways, identifying amendments, a postcard letter, a 6-word memoir, or identifying quotations from primary sources, the experience of Japanese Americans in the World War II incarceration camps using photos from the Dorothea Lane collection.
And if you guys don't know, Grace mentioned it briefly that they were hired by the World Relocation Authority. They hired many of the photographers from the alphabet agencies during the Depression, and Dorothea Lange, of course, being one of the most famous ones. Most of her photos were never used. They were actually locked away in the Library of Congress because they were too revealing. And so they've recently been, they've been released, and so we use those pictures in our project. And so here, just a quick outline. This is an activity that we did for something that would have been more of an assessment or something that we did later. You could use this as an introductory piece to kind of use it as a way to see what your kids know. But what we really like is playing with short assessments, quick things. And I'm a big advocate for using photography. Images are one of the greatest ways to teach concepts and ideas because they're universal, particularly if you're working with kids that have language disabilities or language development. I work with ELL students, and so pictures are always a great way to help kids kind of convey ideas and to make that. And so we used the documents that we got from the We All Americans. We did some analysis with the case studies that you all have access to now. And then I also used an amendment. We both used an amendment activity from the National World War II Museum, and I have that linked on here for you too. It's free, and if you guys write them, they have tons of resources that they're willing to share with you. So they have some great materials. And so we did this, and then we had them look through some images and try to show us what they really understood about the experiences, the vast experiences of Japanese Americans during World War II. And one of the things they did was the 6-word memoir. Amber?
Okay, so 6-word memoir. It's like a poem that summarizes the events or experience of the person they're describing or writing about. So it has to focus on the emotional responses. And they are limited to 6 words, but they can use punctuation or however they want to. And we use the sample from Hemingway, that's a very well-known one, and discussed it. I actually hung it up on the board for the kids to see, and we talked about what they thought it meant. Is that on the, okay. And we talked about what it could mean, and the kids threw out different ideas like, oh, it means the baby died. It means the baby was never born. It means the baby was paralyzed and could never walk. So they came up with different ideas of what it could mean. And I was really impressed with how broad, the kids didn't all look at it the same way. So that was a cool one. So our experience, we each choose different materials, including the case studies and amendments to instruct the students about the content. So we had some, this wasn't day one. We had been talking about this with our students. We scheduled a day that we could work on it with both of our classes at the same time using Google Meet and Google Slides. The goal was to have the kids working on it at the same time. So we had a Google Meet discussion with all of the students from both locations. We planned to have all the students working on their Google Slides at the same time so they could discuss and critique as we all worked. But it was the one day of the school year that my school's Google was completely wiped out for the entire day. And that has never happened before or since. But my kids, luckily we were able to get into the Google Meet and do that part of it. But my kids had to wait to work on it until in fact, I think it started working right after we got done. So it didn't quite work out the way we wanted to. We had our discussion. It worked out great. Marty's kids were able to go in New Mexico, were able to go ahead and work on it that day. My kid and we didn't just limit the kids on time. We actually let them go in and work on it later and finish them up. And like she touched on earlier, her kids, some of them, it was their last day of school. So they had already checked out emotionally, physically, mentally. And my kids had the tech problems to deal with that day. So we allowed the students as much time as they needed. We discussed it with our classes. My kids, we actually went through the next day and looked at them and talked about them. And then some of them wanted to go in and do another one because they enjoyed it so much. Some ideas for next time. We want to have the activity earlier in the school year. In fact, it's something we would kind of like to do every semester with our kids because it was so much fun and it was neat. The kids getting to see the kids from the other state and, be part of a discussion with them. And, it was a great thing. We want to have more time for discussion and, I put discussion and discussion. COVID brain, and less technology issues would be fantastic. And maybe I'd like to, this was something I thought maybe we could all get together the second day again and talk about the activity and maybe even do breakout groups or something with the kids. So
yeah,
if we could trust them.
It was a lot of fun, and the kids were, it was intriguing just to have conversations with each other. As I said, our school's kind of a suburban city school, and it's a huge it's like the largest high school in the state, and then Amber's school is much smaller. So it was interesting to see the differences between the kids and the experience. So this is one of the great things about technology is that you can do this now. And so we really had a lot of fun with this. And so what we're going to ask you guys to do now is to take this idea of the 6-word memoir, And there's lots of books now that are coming out about it. I actually just got one on my Amazon wish list. I'm so excited. But so this idea of 6 words, you have to summarize the big ideas, convey the ideas in 6 words. And so for a writing exercise, rather than trying to do some big writing project, particularly for social studies teachers, this makes our lives a lot easier. But also the fact that you can use this with images. And that's one of the things that I think is so, so powerful. And so what we're going to do is you have access to the slide. I put this up again to remind you of think about the words that you choose to use because they do matter. Think about the context of how they're being used. And then again, just our norms that, think about where we're coming from. And so your assignment, this is the assignment that we gave the students. We asked them to do 2 of the 4 activities. We're really going to ask you just to do the one, which is the 6-word memoir. And so you're going to create a 6-word memoir describing what is going on in your photo. And we'd like you to each to pick at least 2 pictures. There's quite a few to choose from. These are images these are all from the Dorothea Lange collection of the camp. And so they demonstrate the camp from before 9066 hits all the way to the end of the camp time. And so you can kind of scroll through the pictures. You could spend a lot of time looking on those, but you have access to this now. So you can take it and share it and look through it on your own, but take a couple minutes. I think for time's sake, I think maybe 7 minutes, Christina, maybe 7 minutes to have them go through the slides and pick 2.
That sounds good. Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to have you guys do that. And so this is a sample of what we're looking at. Like we said, we had students pick 2. They had also learned the amendments that were impacted, that were being violated, quite frankly, that were being violated by the concentration camps. And so what the kids did, what we asked them to do was either put the amendment that was being violated, write a 6-word memoir, or they could put a quote that they had found, or they wrote a postcard. And so this is an example, and we have here, loyal Americans became potential enemies overnight. That's the 6-word memoir. So if you guys could just do find 2 pictures that you like and do a 6-word memoir, we're going to give you about 7 minutes. And these are all the pictures. There's a whole bunch of them to choose from. So let me, I'm actually going to get out of the screen that's sharing. And so you guys can see that there's a nice, and if you'll just pick 2, and if you'll see on the bottom, we've also included a place for you to put your name so we know who did it. And then you can, illustrate it, decorate, put whatever you want on it to make it stand out. Some of our kids use color, they played with fonts, and then they put their 6-word memoirs on there. So we're going to give you 7 minutes and go.
Marty. So when I did this the second time with my other class, I did take off the amendments part just because we'd already discussed it. It was too easy. I didn't want it to be so easy. So yeah.
If you guys want to actually write the captions right on the photographs, if you guys look again at the sample. So we're putting them right on top of it. So, and like I said, you could add color, play with fonts, just to kind of get that, convey that idea. This is one of my absolute favorite images, just the idea of the all-American boy reading comic books, and but the question of loyalty is being challenged. Has everyone had a chance to do two? I'm just checking. If you haven't, just flag me down. But if you've had a chance to do two, let me know. Everybody.
I was being a bad listener. I was futzing with my one. So should I do a second one quickly?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was counting, trying to keep track, because we did give you a lot of choices. It's so hard to pick pictures.
Okay, I did my second one.
Awesome. So, what takeaway do you guys have? Like, I mean, I realize you haven't had the full curriculum, but once you kind of work through some of the materials and things, even just using your textbooks, how could this be useful, or in your classroom, what would be something that could be useful? What could be something that you could take away from this activity?
I love this activity. I teach high school English, and there's almost too many possibilities to even bother naming them right here. So there's visual elements, text features, captions, concise writing. You could use it for rhetoric or propaganda. You could create a museum, sort of a virtual museum of different things. I mean, I literally wrote down in my notes, I put very versatile. So I have a feeling I'm going to use just pieces of this all over my curriculum this year.
Something that I do, because we have a Holocaust unit and I'm hoping to incorporate this into that. We look at the pictures and we talk about, like, do you have a picture like that? I'm looking at like slide 51 and it's the baby just sitting by himself. And like, everyone has that picture. You have pictures of your kids that way, you know, and so how are you like these people? Which picture speaks to you? Which one do you have one that reminds you of something that you've done? And yeah, these 6-word memoirs, I gave them to my kids and this was really hard. Thanks, Marty. No.
And you know, it takes a little while, and we'll show you let me show you some of our kids, but yeah, I can show you what came up with. And some of them are really profound and some of them are very basic, but it helps, I think, to just kind of get to the idea. Let me show you that one. Let me stop the share on this. Does anybody else want to contribute while I open this one up really fast?
I just thought it was interesting. Like, I started thinking about, wait, whose voice am I writing from? And, you know, whose perspective? And, you know, because I was responding to the families with the tags around their neck and, you know, and on their clothing. And I was like, wait, whose perspective do I want to feature here? So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think that this is really a good activity that you could use. I think, Andrea, you brought up, you could use any photographs. Michelle, you said that. Like, I've done something similar with this with the Holocaust pictures that I've gotten from the Holocaust Memorial Museum. I do gallery walks. I do table talks where you put the pictures on butcher paper and then the kids walk around and write. That's another way to do it if you're doing it in your classroom. What I really liked with Amber and I is that we were able to bring 2 schools together and do this because it's very simple. You just share the Google slide, and just like we're doing now, anybody can access it. And so, yeah, there's lots of versatility, and then you could teach point of view. You could teach, you could use this as a diagnostic lesson to give them photographs and ask them, what do you know? What do you understand about this lesson? And then you could give them the same pictures. This is something I did, gave them the pictures later on and said, okay, now what do you really understand about it? And so we're kind of seeing that change. So these are some samples from our kids that they shared with us. This is one of my students, Maya, amazing kid. So this is that picture that you pointed out, the baby, innocence in a time of crisis. And then she wrote a postcard. We just have a whole bunch of different kids in here. We do it all. We all do it to survive. This one chose to do a quote but just so you can kind of see the versatility. And this is, again, just a great photograph. So I'll just kind of show you a couple of them.
I really enjoyed the 6-word essay, and I really liked making the kids write a postcard letter from the voice of someone in the picture. It really made them think about, okay, what would this person have to say? So I loved that one. I will definitely use again too. And I liked putting it together and letting them choose, because this person did the 6-word essay, but they also did the postcard letter. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, like, the idea of playing with voice there too, who's speaking to whom and why.
And what I like is just the idea that they have the opportunity to choose. Like, I think giving choice boards whenever you can, even if it's a very simple, just giving them, okay, here's 4 things, pick 2. Just giving them that opportunity for choice. What do they feel comfortable with? Maybe they're not comfortable writing a poem or writing a postcard, but they can definitely find quotes really good that reflect the image that they want, or that 6-word memoir again helps. So there's lots of ways to play with this. So this I can also share with you guys. This will definitely be in the resources that Christina shares for you guys to take and kind of see what my kids have come up with, if you want what our kids came up with. So one day this war will end, and when it does, Tule Lake will just be a memory. I thought that was a really profound quote to pull, right? So these are just some of the samples, and just there's lots of flexibility in things. Again, the power of, you don't have to write a full essay. You could write 6 words and really convey it. You could write a short postcard, and you can use images in so many varieties of ways. So
I was thinking about the idea of even using maybe your students' work, if it's okay, as like mentor text for other students, even, or inspiration for other students, because it's, you could imagine sharing some of these and then being able to have students even look at them after they've done theirs and sort of look at different ways people interpret the same image. I don't know. I could just see how that work could be really interesting to look at, to share.
Again, I think it's just, it just allows, it's a very, I want to say it's a very simple activity, but you have to really think. And so it gives you lots of leadway. So I think we need to be heading back. But if we could get someone that be maybe willing to kind of share out something for the group, that we would appreciate that. So somebody other than myself or Amber, if you'd be willing to share just kind of what you got out of it. And I have shared this with you in the chat. And again, everybody's lessons will be shared on the extended stuff that we have for the workshop. So I think we should head back.
There's my alarm. So
yeah.
Okay, let me close the rooms. I'm sort of in here and also doing this. So sorry.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This is great. Hi, Grace. You got to go to the other?
Yes, I went to every room.
Yay.
I eavesdropped on every room. They were so great.
Yeah, this work is so exciting.
I'm glad. Oh, I didn't check to see if they were all recording, but I know one was. Were you guys recording?
They were, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nicely done. The set of photographs are amazing. I also noticed, Marty and Amber, that you have the photo credits on all of them, which I really appreciate, like where you actually sourced all of these. There's quite a collection.
And like I said, those are pictures that the vast majority, there's a few of them you saw in Grace's presentation, but the vast majority of them were never shown to the public because the War Relocation Authority felt that they were too sympathetic to the Japanese Americans, as opposed to the American, we got to do this, it's a good thing. It's supposed to show how great these camps are and how protective they are. Yeah,
There were originally over 80, but I cut out all the pictures that didn't have people in them because I wanted them to voice, the people that were in the pictures. So
yeah, great.
All right. Is everyone back now? I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, we only have a few minutes, so let's get started. Do we have a reporter from Ad's room? If you could just speak up.
Oh, would that be me? Hi. Well, let's see. I'm 6th grade language arts, so I kind of look at it from that lens. So I didn't write everything down. But as a side note, there's a Scholastic magazine article that I use with my kids every year. It's called Behind Barbed Wires. that talks about the subject. So I went into this wanting to incorporate some things when I used that unit. So she shared some case studies, how she had her kids use case studies, and they write what happened. And there were some other questions that she had up that kind of went kind of fast, but I think that would be good for informational writing for the kids to be able to do. She showed how she tied it into US history and civil rights and incorporated that text in there so that it will meet the standards that the school is always requiring in the essential questions. The book Sylvia and Aki, which all kids of all ages love books, and when you read to them, and then had the kids write letters to the characters. And I thought that was a great tool. And then I've talked about text reconstruction and sentence unpacking to really delve deeper into the text, and a political cartoon of analyzing a political cartoon. So there were a lot of strategies that she spoke about to incorporate this into our studies. And I hope I didn't miss anything.
All right, thank you so much, Candace. It's hard to squeeze everything into 30 minutes and much less a few minutes after that. So let's see, Marty and Amber's room. Is there someone who would like to speak up from there?
Go.
Okay.
So we worked with 6-word memoirs and photos that weren't really shown to the public. Very much that tie into the propaganda, and you want to make people look like what you are hoping everyone else will see them as, so that people will be afraid. And they weren't scary photos. They were everyday photos of events that all of us have pictures of in a lot of cases. So having the kids focus and really, really choose appropriate language, because you only have 6 words, so you got to use your words wisely. That was really hard. But it was also, I think it's meaningful. They also had the kids do a postcard, or they could use a quote. So this is one that you could use in a lot of different ways for a lot of different types of writing. And so it was really cool.
Thank you so much. What I really like about all these presentations is they really shared with us a way to get into the classroom with a complicated curriculum that it's not generally on state standards, and linked it. So Junko.
I think we didn't decide who's gonna share out. Anyone?
Please, so Junko can hear what you got. Could someone please volunteer?
I'm happy to volunteer. I really appreciated hearing about the I've forgotten the word. What shape are they? Pentagonal? No, what are they? Hexagonal, sorry. The hexagonal, a tool to help kids think about different concepts around a specific person or idea. And Junko really packed it in. She's done a lot with social justice work with her 4th graders, and from them writing speeches and doing marches, but she saw that they weren't really thinking about why they chose certain people and why they cared about that topic. So then she brought in, let's see, who's the person who did that? Molly's idea of the hexagonal, and I don't know if that could be put in the chat. I know it was shared with us in the chat. This tool that was basically, I think we saw in the video that you basically, it's like a web, right? But with hexagons, and then but the difference, I think, is that you can manipulate, move them either digitally or with paper, like Junko showed us, her students did as well. And you talk about it. So the kids talk about it and they write about it. So like Molly mentioned that with her kids who are middle schoolers, they really saw that the process of moving those hexagons also led to the writing and thinking in different ways, and seeing why the kids, like this kid saw why writing was helpful in their thinking. So that was, I thought it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may be starting hexagon fever in this group here. Thank you so much. I really like the way you looked at the work and you said, I got to get the kids to think about why. Why are they making these statements? And you use the hexagons to help them do that. We have, before we move on, I just want to introduce the other members who didn't present and who are here. I saw Sydney. Sydney, you want to raise your hand? Just wave, Sydney. Hi. And Molly. And Carly was here, but I know her internet is kind of wonky, so she might have left. Anybody else? I don't see you. Okay, so we are almost at the closing, but is there one comment or question that people want to, someone wants to make? Well, I have something. One is if you would like to join this study group, if we get funding for it, the requirements are that you attend a workshop. So we have one more virtual workshop and I put it way up in the chat. It's tomorrow. It's 3.5 hours on Wednesday and Thursday, and it's about farming while incarcerated. And we're calling it posting because that's, if we were going locally, we would, I mean, well, it is posting, but if we were going, we would be in Phoenix and we'd be talking about the 2 concentration camps that were built on Indian reservations there. So we'll have a special speaker talking about that, and then we'll be going through our curriculum. So you're welcome to join. There's lots of space. It's virtual. Just follow that link to go. And anything else, Christina?
Yes, well, just a round of applause for everybody. I want to just thank you so much for sharing this excellent work. And I feel like this is a very rich set of resources and conversations that we all just had. And we created a space in the teacher studio for us both to share these resources so that you can access them beyond this event. And I'm just going to put the link to that in the chat right now. That link will log you directly into this space. So just a real quick screen share. I can show you if you go to the NWP Teacher Studio, once you're logged in, it'll look like this. And right now we're featuring it. It's called the Deeper Dive. We are all Americans teaching together. And so if you click here or you follow Deeper Dive on the left, you'll be able to find this group. And here we are linking we have all the resources that Grace shared at the beginning. We have links to the full elementary and secondary curriculum for We All Are All Americans. And then we will be posting all of the slideshows and resources that the teachers shared here, as well as the archive from this discussion. Those will be up later tomorrow. And finally, the farm labor workshop that Grace just mentioned that starts tomorrow is linked here too. So we welcome you to come into this space. We welcome you to introduce yourself and talk, share a bit more of what you gained from this conversation. And we hope to, continue to support each other in this important work as and using this space as one way to do that too. I think that's it. Any other good for the order comments anybody wanted to make or share? Thank you all.
I just want to say thank you. It was really wonderful to see so many people coming to a group in the summer and giving up precious few hours left of your vacation. And I'm so proud of the people who presented. It was great. Thank you so much.
And I just want to encourage anybody who has colleagues who you think this might be of interest to invite them to come to that deeper dive, because we will have the resources there and be able to continue these conversations. So thank you, everyone. Oh, thank you so much for all your great work. Great job, team.
Thank you.